When your teenager tells you that you don't understand them, you should pay attention to that. They might have a very good point. When your teenager tells you that you cannot fix what's broken in your relationship with them, you should listen to that. They might just be spot on right. And this is why. You see, most parents seem to think that the problems of adolescence begin during adolescence. And that's just usually not true. What happens is the parent is noticing the problem during adolescence. And what they're noticing is a consequence of a problem. What they're noticing is a continuation of a problem. What they're noticing is a problem that has caused other problems that have become big enough to cause problems in the relationship. So what the parent is noticing is not a new problem, it's an old problem. And if we look at the example of the teenager who says you don't understand them, then this is what might have happened. At 6 years old, at 7 years old, at 8 years old, your child came to you excited and eager to tell you something childish, excited to play with you, excited to do something childish with you. But then you were too busy on the phone, you're too busy working, you're too busy cleaning, you're too busy cooking, you're too busy doing what you thought was important stuff, and you ignored your child. You dismissed whatever it is that they were bringing to you, and you did that severally. And so over time, they started learning not to come to you, and they found alternatives, either in their imagination, so they found an imaginary friend that they could speak to, or they got into fantasies, or they found a family member, maybe a sibling or an aunt, somebody, and they started talking to them, and they were willing to listen and understand them. And so that need was met by somebody else. The need they had for you to listen to them, for you to understand them as a parent, was replaced by something else or by someone else. And that went on for a while. So now, when you're seeing your 14-year-old, your 15-year-old, your 16-year-old refusing to talk to you about their problems and talking to somebody else, it's a consequence. It's not the beginning of the problem. It didn't just start. And so the other part, the other example we said where the teenager is saying you cannot fix the problems as a parent is because even the way you look at the problem is a problem itself. And so you can't fix it because you as a parent, you look at it as a new problem. And the teenager knows that it's an old problem. It's been there for a while, for 5 years, for 6 years, and you're not paying attention to it. You're only paying attention to it now because it's become big enough. It started causing other problems in the relationships that now you're noticing. But it's not a new problem. And your teenager by this time is going through this phase of identity formation. They're starting to understand who they are. They're starting to define who they are. And one of the things that they might understand is that you are not accessible to them. They cannot come to you with their problems because you are too busy with other things. They are not important to you. And so they've learned to form some other relationships where they're made to feel important. And sometimes those relationships might not be good for them, but you are not giving them access to what you might be. Maybe you might be the good relationship that they need, but you're not giving them access to that. And past history has already informed them of that. So it's not baseless. Now, one of the things as a parent that you want to do to try and repair what's broken in your relationship with your teenager is by beginning to understand where they're coming from, is by beginning to actually pay attention to when the problem started, such that it reduces the resistance when you see the problem the way they see it. And in this case, they might be right that the problem started when they were 6 years old. The problem started when they were 7. They tried presenting something to you. They tried saying something to you and you ignored it severally. That's when the problem started, not now. And that might help you repair the relationship with your teenager.